Hello, a warm welcome to you. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's remind you that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website is nta.ng/live and all other of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally extracted the commitment of development partners, including the United Nations, to support Africa's drive towards addressing challenges associated with desert encroachment and drought through the Great Green Wall Initiative. This was at a select meeting he convened with critical stakeholders in Abuja, Côte d'Ivoire, in his capacity as president. Conference of Heads of State and Government of the Pan-African Great Green Wall Agency. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari had told the international development partners that the Pan-African Great Green Wall bloc, comprising Nigeria and 10 other countries, is facing dire and present danger due to the devastating effect of desertification and drought. This, he said, is impacting negatively on the security of their communities and the livelihood of the people, hence the urgent need to confront these challenges head-on.
It is on this note that on behalf of member states, I welcome the One Planet Summit initiative that pledges 19 billion United States dollars to support the activities of the Pan-African Great Green Wall, which necessitated this very important engagement with you this morning. The purpose of this meeting, therefore, is to inform you formally that member states want to trigger the process for accessing the funding by utilizing the Great Green Wall Accelerator window.
The window, he explained, is mainly to address, amongst others, land restoration and tree planting, investment in small and medium-sized farms, develop climate resilience infrastructure, as well as institutional framework to enhance security, stability, and governance.
It is my hope that the parties to this meeting, especially the World Bank, African Development Bank, and the One Planet Summit initiative, will give us maximum cooperation in this regard and make good their pledge to support Africa's drive to addressing these climate challenges.
Participants at the meeting, including the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, commended President Buhari for the unprecedented commitment in driving the Pan-African Great Green Wall agenda and promised desired support and assistance towards achieving the set objectives.
What we really need to see is for the Secretariat to address the programs that you have just talked to at the scale and with a sense of urgency and the partnerships that we have so that we can access the commitments that have been made by the One Planet Summit.
We would like to see these pledges transformed into action on the ground. The Great Green Wall is really a source of inspiration. We have not seen something like that in other parts of the world. So it's a real sense of leadership, and I hope that all partners will recognize that.
France is very interested by this African initiative, and we encourage the international community to support it more.
I would like to reiterate the bank's commitment to working with you to achieve our collective vision of transforming the Great Green Wall initiative into a powerful investment program for regreening the Sahel and for changing the narrative of the region.
The meeting resolved to set up a task team to work with the Pan-African Great Green Wall Agency to chart the best way forward, while a meeting of the Council of Ministers of Member States is soon to be convened by the Minister of Environment, Mohamed Abdullahi, towards deepening the outcome of the just concluded meeting at the instance of President Muhammadu Buhari. From Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, Adamu Sambo, NTA.
Back home, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has extended its rollover strike by another 12 weeks over failure to reach an agreement with the federal government. ASUU President Emmanuel Osodeke confirmed the extension, says the extension becomes necessary to allow both parties address grey areas. The statement added that the decision was taken at the National Executive Council of the Association held on Sunday, 8th of May 2022. It will be recalled that ASUU had earlier on the 14th February embarked on a one-month warning strike that ended on the 14th of March, which also rolled over by 8 weeks, which ended on 8th of May. And in the meantime, our correspondent Olainka Ojo went out to sample opinion of some citizens on the new extension of the strike by ASUU.
It will affect our children that they are in the universities. You know why this thing is happening and they don't have control is because 75 or 90% of our leaders, their children are not here. To cause more social violence, if they are in the school, what they are doing at home now, they will not do it. They will be concentrating on their studies. But now that they are...
Education is the most important thing in this life. No country survives without education. They seem not to care to consider the blood of the student they are teaching. Because at least they should be human in their demands.
If you're not the direct person being affected, you might not understand what's really going on. A lot of people are having a lot of hard time at home, youths just hanging around doing nothing, and when they should be engaged in school and all. So it's definitely going to affect them psychologically, in terms of their focus, because when you go to school this week and you don't go next week, you kind of lose focus. You mentally feel affected.
All right, we cross over to Lagos now to join Adiola to pick up with other reports from that end.
Thank you, Ruth. And not done with ASUU. Students of University of Lagos have expressed displeasure over the extension of ASUU strike by 3 months. Kehinde Adebisi caught up with them during a peaceful protest to drive home their demands.
The ASUU strike is biting hard on the students as the academics has been put on hold due to incessant strike, hoping that they will soon return to school after the expiration of the 12 weeks rolled over warning strike. Their hopes are now dashed with another extension. With so much uncertainty over when they will return to their classrooms, they decided to make their grievances known through this avenue.
Our learning span is being shortened because immediately we resume now, they're going to rush us. The time we are meant to use to learn appropriately in this institution is being cut short.
So we are pleading that they should please hear us, end this strike, and find a way to provide a solution. We can't be going on strike every time.
Placards with varying inscriptions were on display to express their utmost fear. Margaret Akinwande is a concerned parent. It is a wish to see a child graduate soon.
They are all our children, they are our youths, and they are our future. I'm here because I'm not happy because our children are at home. They're supposed to be in the school studying like their mates. They have been at home for 3 months. Now understand that the strike has been extended.
We are pleading. We that want to come to the Federal University, let us go to this university in this short period of 4 years and let 4 years be 4 years.
With the new development, these students are pleading for a more common ground to the pending issues between the union and the federal government. In Lagos, Kehinde Adebisi, NTA News.
And we hope a quick resolution will come forth soon. Moving on to aviation. Domestic airline operations are no longer suspended as promised by operators, but there seems to be distortion in flight schedules as traveling passengers complain of delay or cancellation. Michael Olaleye is at the Murtala Mohammed Airport for the situation report. Hello, Mike.
Thank you, studio. Although the planned suspension of operations by airlines has been aborted, but the atmosphere here at the General Aviation Terminal of the Murtala Muhammed Airport in Lagos is not reflecting the immediate effect of low patronage or apathy expected from such last-minute withdrawal as regards suspension of services. But there seems to be cancellation and delay of flights.
Nothing has changed. I bought my ticket before to travel by 2, and now they say there's a delay. I have to go by 4:30. So I'm here waiting.
But what we are just experiencing is that there have been rescheduling of flight. For instance, my flight was supposed to be 1:30, it was set to 2:30, 4:30, and 6:15. It's horrible. The meeting in Abuja, and you can see I'm still here. In fact, I'm from Ibadan. If I had traveled this morning by road, I'm sure I would have been about in Abuja.
I want to believe that they didn't intend to move the flight. It's obviously because of the scarcity. I want to believe so. So it's inconveniencing. I'm here 3 hours, or I have to wait for 3 hours before I get on my flight. So I don't know how that works because I'm exhausted.
One fact here is that pending the reversal of the price of aviation fuel, passengers will definitely pay more.
From my own observation, last time I can buy maybe 20, 30, but now 50, 60, that is what you are seeing on the seat. And how do you want people to survive on such price? It's too much. At least some people want to travel, but they cannot make it because of the price.
In my curiosity, I was forced to ask some of them what will have changed if the airline operators had gone ahead with the suspension of services.
It means that business is going to be frustrated. Life is going to be, because the roads are not secured. People are going to be frustrated traveling out. It's going to affect business seriously.
Normalcy is expected to return in the coming days. It's now back to the studio for the continuation of the news.
And thank you, Michael. Well, do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng or live, and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Nationwide will continue with Ruth in Abuja. Ruth, is back to you.
Thank you very much, Adiola. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, notes the sudden appearance of few queues in parts of Abuja. A statement by Garba-Din Mohammed, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, says this is likely due to low loadouts at depots, which usually happen during long public holidays, in this case the Salah celebrations. Another contributing factor to the sudden appearances of queues is the increased fuel purchases, which is also usual with returning residents of the FCT from the public holidays. NNPC and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, in conjunction with marketing partners, have taken necessary measures to ramp up loadouts from all depots. The NNPC assures residents of the FCT and indeed all Nigerians that they have ample local supplies and national stock in excess of 2.5 billion litres, with sufficiency of more than 43 days. The NNPC has advised motorists not to engage in panic buying as supplies are adequate and will become increasingly evident in the coming days. The National Inland Waterways Authority says passengers and boat operators without life jackets would be sanctioned, while condoling with families of the victims of the unfortunate boat mishap that occurred in May Adua local government area of Katsina State, claiming the lives of 15 persons. The authority noted that it has recently distributed life jackets and some patrol vehicles to all area offices across the country to enhance surveillance and monitor on the waterways. The authority appeals to passengers and boat drivers to adhere to the rules and guidelines regulating passengers' transportation. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll be heading to Makurdi to join Fatima. She'll pick up from there.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with
and a warm welcome to Makurdi.
Minister of State for Housing has commissioned National Housing Project in Taraba State in fulfillment of government desire in addressing needs of Nigerians. Correspondent Emmanuel Matudi reports that the project was made possible through intergovernmental collaboration.
Commissioning the housing estate, President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by Minister of State, Works and Housing, Muazu Jaji Sambo, said the project is to redeem the President's promise to Nigerians in areas of housing intervention. He expressed delight the project has improved lives of Nigerians, especially artisans, builders, skilled and unskilled workers, food vendors, among others who are not left out of the economic value chain.
The progressive ideals of our government seeks to achieve one primary objective, which is to improve the human condition. This housing estate has achieved that in many ways.
Governor Darius Ishaku, represented by Secretary to Taraba State Government Anthony Jellison, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for successful completion of the project, saying it will go a long way in reducing housing deficit in the state. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola, represented by Director Building and Housing in the Ministry Solomon Laba Philo, said the ministry under President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has delivered similar projects in 34 states, with state governors supportive through provision of lands.
We have offered all these housing units to members of the general public in a non-discriminatory way by opening the national portal at nhp.worksandhousing.gov.ng to ensure that those interested are not inhibited by any official obstacles or allocations.
The completed first phase of the housing project in Taraba State include 80 units of houses comprising 4 units of 1 bedroom, 48 units of 2 bedrooms, and 24 units of 3-bedroom bungalow. The houses are affordable with flexible payment option like mortgage and rent to own available to general public. The National Housing Program Phase 1 in Taraba State consists of road infrastructure, water provision, and electricity supply.
Away from housing, peer influence or pressure has been identified as one of the primary contextual factors contributing to adolescent behavior in the society, thereby promoting risk-taking and social-emotional competence among youths. This, experts say, if not monitored properly, could negatively impact the life of a child. Moses Ajau Ode completes the report.
The rise in criminal activities and other social vices appear to have taken a worrisome dimension, with youths around the adolescent stage most active. According to opinion leaders, peer groups provide an arena whereby adolescents can learn, but if not properly monitored, avail them the opportunity to engage in risky behavior.
It's not even enough that you take your child to school, that you put your child in school or give them food, but you have to take full responsibility of the growth of that child, both physically and mentally.
If the peers that is those around, their age mates, age groups, age bracket as a mingle, if their characters are well informed, then we're going to have people heading to the right direction. If not, then what is ahead is catastrophic.
They posit that adolescent stage is a transition stage for adolescent child, and as such, parents and guardians are to monitor the company their children keep to avoid being consumed by peer pressures. Dr. Perpetua Chia, the head of Department Clinical Psychology, Federal Medical Center, Makudi, observed that parental negligence accounts for some of the negative peer influences on the children.
Once you already have a child, you don't wait till the child is adolescent. You start right from infancy. We need to befriend our children, because if you are friends with your child will be very open, free to tell you whatever it is.
She further noted that adolescent stage remains a formative window for children as it presents them with a quest for self-determination. In Makudi, Moses Ajau Udi, NTA News.
And that's it from Makudi. Nationwide continues with Roots in Abuja.
Thank you, Fatima. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo says it is clear that the post-COVID-19 economic recovery strategy for Africa must go beyond the individual efforts that are made in different countries. He emphasized the need for the increased collaboration and integration of efforts to drive sustainable economic growth across the African continent. This was when the Vice President represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the opening of the first conference of speakers and heads of African parliaments. We'll bring you the full details in our subsequent bulletin. And following that, the Conference of Speakers and Heads of African Parliamentarians, COSAP, has commenced in Abuja. It is the first gathering of all African speakers and heads of parliaments under the Indigenous Pan-African Platform, with the theme Enhancing Africa's Post-COVID Economic Recovery Through Parliamentary Leadership. The conference hopes to provide a platform to develop collaborative strategies to tackle issues of common concern. Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila is the convener of the conference. Petrol queues have resurfaced in most parts of petrol stations in Abuja, with motorists lamenting productive hours spent in search of petrol. Lydia Sampson will give us an update now.
Queues are here again. Even as authorities say it's only temporal, you can see that the people here are desperate, and it's creating some kind of rowdiness and even impacting the free flow of traffic. Bamidele Joseph is an estate surveyor. Top on his plan for the day was to go straight to the office, but alas, he said, the more than 3 hours he would have deployed to productive means were lost waiting on the queue for fuel.
Well, since morning I've not gone to work. I'm still here. We just suddenly woke up and found out that there's a queue. Every filling station is not selling, not dispensing. So we don't actually know what the problem is.
He's not alone. His story resonates with Felix Chuku, a businessman.
I have so many places to go. I can't be able to even achieve anything right now. Until I buy this fuel, I'll continue my journey.
It is even worse for people whose business depend on petrol. Ironically, different strokes for different folks. Abubakar Umar is a black marketer. I was taken aback when he approached me declaring that he's a black marketer, obviously seeing nothing wrong with his line of business.
I buy them for generator tank, I go turn them for gala.
He says he's a shoe seller in Wuse Market. However, it is usually more profitable for him and other black market fuel dealers when there is fuel scarcity. He says because it is no longer allowed in jerrycans, he comes with generator tanks. Some of the black marketers deploy motorcycles, also known as Okada. They empty their fuel tanks to them and rejoin the queues again. George Buma lamented that the reappearance of fuel queues is one too many.
It is what we want the government to fix, but they are unable to fix these problems. We are tired.
I'm very, very angry because it's not up to a month we came out of this. So why are we back into it?
Dr. Joanne is simply too angry about the situation. However, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority say they are already on top of the situation. For independent petroleum marketers, it is simply about the high cost of diesel and doing business.
A lot of people cannot even fuel their trucks.
They are optimistic that with a holistic approach, the queues will disappear soon. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
A federal high court seat in Abuja has refused to grant a restraining order at the instance of the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice on his presidential ambition. Emefiele had, through his counsel, Mike Ozekome, SAN, applied for an order of status quo ante bellum to be made against INEC and AGF so that he would not be made to resign from office until 30 days to the presidential election. In an ex parte application, Emefiele denied being a political appointee but a public servant not caught by Section 84, subsection 12 of the new Electoral Act 2022. The CBN governor asked the court to invoke Section 318 of the 1999 Constitution to bar the defendants from asking him to vacate office until 30 days to the February 2023 presidential elections. Emefiele expressed apprehension that the sale and submission of presidential nomination form would expire on Wednesday, and that unless the INEC and AGF are ordered to maintain status quo as at May 5th, when he filed the suit, he would be made to vacate office before his form would be accepted by the appropriate authority. However, in a brief ruling, Justice Ahmed Ramat Mohammed turned down the request for the order. Instead, the judge ordered him to put the defendants on notice and also serve court processes on the defendants. Justice Mohammed ordered the defendants to appear before him on May 12 and show cause on why the request should not be granted. And still on judiciary affairs, a magistrate court sitting in Port Harcourt could not rule on the bail application filed by counsel to member representing Degema Boni Federal Constituency, Farah Dagogo, following his absence in court. This is just as the state government has filed fresh charges against him at the High Court. Kinsley Amajiri will tell us more.
The federal lawmaker and governorship aspirant was charged on two-count charge of breach of public peace and instigation of secret court members to disrupt PDP screening exercise before Chief Magistrate Amade Nna. He was remanded in police custody and the matter was adjourned to 9th of May 2022. When the matter came up, the defendant was not in court. The prosecution, however, informed the court that the state has filed fresh charge against the defendant at the High Court. The matter was later adjourned to 23rd May 2022.
I had already informed the court that an information has been filed before the High Court. The information means a formal charge before the High Court has been filed, meaning that if we process all of those, we are no longer coming to this court.
Attempt to get the counsel to the defendant speak was futile as the team objected to comment on the matter. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Ali Pantami, has been appointed as the chairman of the World Summit on Information Society Forum 2022 by the International Telecommunication Union. A statement by the Technical Assistant on Research and Development to the Minister, Dr. Femi Adeluyi, says the ITU is engaging the Minister in such task due to his commitment to information and knowledge societies and the active role he has played in the World Summit process. The World Summit Forum 2022, which will take place at the ITU headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, will serve as a key forum for discussing ICT's role in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals and targets with regards to the global mechanism for follow-up and review of the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Dr. Adeluyi notes that Professor Pantami's appointment shows that the world has taken notice of Nigeria's giant strides in digital economy. Our next stop will be Ibadan, and Kemi is set to guide us.
Thank you and welcome to Ibadan. The JAMB Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination is ongoing without any major hitch in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Let's join Larry Bilei on the field for a situation report. Larry, how is it out there?
Thank you, Kemi. I'm here at the Agodi GRA Examination Center, and around me here are candidates just finished their examination, the CBT examination, and this is what they have to say.
It was good, stressful though.
How is it stressful?
Those questions are hard, somehow, those calculations.
Taxing, but with good preparation, it is a good way of taxing students who want to enter the university to know if they are qualified enough. So I think the JAMB exam was quite tough.
It was a bit hard, but
Is this your first time on doing exam?
Yes.
How was it to you?
It was firstly strange, but after some explanation, I got used to it.
At the CBT centers, electrical appliances are not allowed to go inside. So, unfortunately, we couldn't capture the students that are doing their examinations. But we managed to talk to the supervisor, and this is what she said.
So far, so good. We've been having it so excellent since we started at this center, except for one or two issues, which are minor cases, and we were able to solve them promptly.
The rule says that no external gadgets apart from the one that JAM provided for the candidates. And JAM is monitoring this examination in 750 centers, approved centers that is, across the country. In Ibadan, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
Thank you, Larry. As part of efforts to boost the nation's internally generated revenue from the patronage of locally made goods and services, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, has advised Nigerians to patronize made-in-Nigeria goods and services for enhanced economic growth and development of the country. Ogun State Director, National Orientation Agency, Kolawole Obajino, stated this in Abeokuta. Larry Agbode reports.
Nigeria, no doubt, is blessed with abundant resources for production of quality goods and services locally with unique and distinct designs. However, only few Nigerians patronize these products, while others spend their resources on foreign goods, the trends many considered as inimical to economic growth in Nigeria.
Honor what we have, we should promote them, we should develop appetite for them, and we should make a lot and export.
Some local manufacturers say patronage of locally made goods has improved as Nigerians now prefer the products to foreign ones.
You can only build the SME when you patronize them. Enough of all this designer of a thing.
We produce it ourselves. We see what we are producing, and we use the quality material.
Ogun State Director, National Orientation Agency, Kolawole Obajino says by patronizing Nigerian products, the nation becomes self-reliant in producing and utilizing goods produced by itself.
We should stop patronizing foreign goods and services when we can do it, when our own can compete favorably with it. If I show you my shoe now, you see that you thought he's making Nigeria abroad. He's making Abeokuta here.
He explained that this year's campaign on Change Begins With Me, patronize made in Nigeria goods and services, scheduled for May 10 and 11, 2022 in Ogun State, will further encourage local producers to produce more for patronage.
That's it from Ibadan. We now take some messages and join.
Welcome to Maiduguri on Nationwide. The Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Umar Garbe Alamin Al-Kanemi, has appealed to the federal government to connect some local government areas to the national power grid, as they are now picking up the pieces of their lives from the challenges of insurgency. The monarch was speaking when he received the Director General, National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Professor Ayo Motayo, who led participants of Senior Executive Course 44 2022 on a visit to his palace as part of their study tour to Borno State. The National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, in Kuru, Plateau State, Nigeria, is a policy formulation center for bureaucrats, private sector leaders, army officers, and medium rank and senior civil servants, which was founded in 1979. Led by the Director General, these 17 participants of Study Group 7 are on a mission to experience and analyze the local governance system and its sustainability in providing the needs of the citizenry, which brought them to the Shehu of Borno's Palace.
We chose Borno State as one of the states because we find it to be very important and critical in the scheme of things in Nigeria.
Shehu of Borno, in his response, appreciated the federal government for considerable achievements of security at the grassroots and return of most displaced communities, and solicited reconnection of Ngala and Abadam local government areas with the national road network, respectively.
What is a very close? So honestly, we're in a very terrible situation. But now, alhamdulillah, the security situations, the security people are on top of the situation.
The delegation also had an interactive session with management of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, where the team lead, Brigadier General Wowo Nasir, disclosed that the presidency directed the study challenges and available options in a bid to strengthen local governance and transparency.
Challenges local governance are having, and even at the local level,
so that we can study it and advise Mr. President appropriately.
The chairman of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, Ali Umara Bolori, cited challenges of empowerment of local population as well as community-driven achievements in the areas of provision of basic needs with the support of federal, state, as well as NGOs in the 15 wards of the council. The NIPS study tour is expected to last 1 week. Mass surrender of Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorist elements and their families in the Northeast Theater of Operations has necessitated a stakeholders training on the demobilization and process for reintegration of ex-combatants back into the mainstream society. The 1 month training was organized by Managing Conflicts in Nigeria, a British Council initiative, with funding from the European Union. Maimuna Garba reports.
The de-radicalization and reintegration program of the federal government began in May 2021 following the surrender of 1,000 insurgents, where it has encountered both successes and challenges. Some of the participants, including religious leaders, traditional rulers, and security operatives, say following surrender of over 50,000 combatants and their families, the communities returning to normalcy still have concern about reconciliation with repentant terrorists. Managing Conflicts in Nigerian program of British Council, funded by European Union, has successfully carried out a month-long training for 200 key stakeholders in Jere and MMC communities. Facilitators of the program appreciated support of Borno State government for ensuring success of the program.
This intervention is a complementary support to add value to what the state government has been doing by training community leaders as well as leaders of various community stakeholder groups with skills and knowledge to manage grievances that is emerging associated with the return of people associated with the conflict.
Participants at the program acknowledged efforts of the organizers and promised to step down the training to grassroots.
In fact, we have benefited a lot. We have got information or knowledge on DDR and DRR and the role expected of a traditional ruler in the reintegration proper in Borno State.
Stakeholders from ministries, departments, and agencies were also on hand, encouraging participants to contribute their quota in preferring solutions towards making Borno State once again the home of peace. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Those are the stories from this end as Nationwide returns to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Mohammed. Investing in all aspects of medicine, actors in the health industry sector said will aid access to primary health care to meet global health demand. Elizabeth Omori reports that this was the position of nurses and midwives at a forum commemorating the Nursing and Midwifery 2022 week.
Health Organization report reveals that an additional 9 million nurses and midwives would be needed by 2030 for all countries to meet SDG 3 on health and well-being. Going by this report, nurses and midwives in Nigeria are advocating provision of decent work environment and insurance coverage against hazards.
5,000 as hazard cannot be acceptable, and I think the House, as the House, have championed the review of that hazard allowance, and we have agreed with the executive to liaise with union so that we can reach a conclusion. So
workers are citizens. They have rights that ought to be respected. And that's why we have the provision of our labor laws, global labor laws, to protect those roads.
Speakers at the forum posit that strengthening of public health surveillance will go a long way in assisting nurses and midwives meet health needs of Nigerians, especially women and children.
The Federal Ministry of Health can introduce initiative of allowing management of various facilities to replace or employ retired nurses who probably may retire and then reduce the workforce. So if there is room to employ and replace such, if it got an initiative, that would be heartwarming.
We will want to call on the government to see whatever the government can do to provide securities in the environment where nurses and other health professionals do work.
Players in the health sector urge practitioners to adopt professional code of ethics to meet patient satisfaction. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Public infrastructure are to accelerate development and enhance the living standard of people. The reason why government invests heavily in infrastructure. However, the durability of these social amenities is dependent on proper usage, maintenance and protection. But whose role is it to protect public infrastructure? Justina Etim in this report finds out why.
The disregard for public infrastructure plays out in the attitude of some Nigerians who dump refuse in drainages, defecate in public places, destroy or vandalize public property at the slightest provocation, and the likes. The past vandalization of public assets in Cross River State and other states by hoodlums in the name of NSAS protest is yet another instance of destruction of public property.
The saboteurs who usually vandalize our rail lines secretly or openly or in the bush, these people are patronizing them. So the items you are seeing here now, they are rail track lines.
The misuse of public infrastructure is sometimes born out of the notion that this property belongs to government. As such, taking care of them is no man's business. But should this be the case?
We are to take care of anything government has given to us. What government has brought to your domain is for your own good.
While some believe that the provision, maintenance and protection of public infrastructure is the responsibility of government, Mr. Ichu Ibekie differs in this opinion as he makes it a point of duty to clear the drains and keep the environment within his community clean. When asked why he engages in this was his response.
People should look at it that gutter where you are working is where you make the money. I'm not working because I am looking for money, but I'm working because people should be encouraged to do this in every community you find yourself. Nigeria should look beyond what they are seeing. Let's copy things and do the correct thing.
Mr. Bikie captures a picture of one who loves his country and is determined to make it work. And on this note, the National Orientation Agency is tasking Nigerians to adopt infrastructural maintenance culture and good civic sense for overall development of the country. In Calabar,
Justin Ayatim there. Nigeria needs leaders with track records of performance and not those looking for the perks of office and personal gains. Guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria stated this while discussing the concept of leadership in Nigeria, stressing that there is need for value orientation of Nigerians on the choice of leaders they elect. Lydia Sampson will tell us more.
The guests highlighted that Nigeria's leadership trajectory, which was punctuated by military incursions, has bequeathed a psyche that encourages grabbing of power to lord over the masses rather than a call to duty and service.
Leadership is the one that provides the roadmap for where a group of people want to be, where they hope to be in the future.
There should be a bond, a strong bond amongst the three concepts: citizenship, leadership, and good governance. If there's a weak link between any of the three concepts, then the end results will not be good.
Leadership is not for personal gain. That leadership is for the common good.
The practice of democracy and leadership in Nigeria is not what you found elsewhere. For example, the Singaporean example, the Chinese miracle, or for example, the United Arab Emirates example, that we see Nigerians shamelessly flocking to Dubai, going to Singapore, while you have a Nigeria with full of human resources.
My view and my opinion to the youth is this. You were youth yesterday, you're growing old today. Stop making excuses about, we could have done this if our leaders did that. Hold leaders accountable.
They are optimistic that electing leaders who are effective will bring about desired transformation in all spheres of national life. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The increasing rate of stigmatization of individuals is one of the major problems threatening growth of institutions and society at large. To stem the tide, concerned persons are now waging intellectual war against the societal ill. Omenka Marachuku reports that a book titled "It is Time to Fight the Battle of Osun System" is the latest in the series.
System is one of the obnoxious cultural beliefs and practices in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Any individual, family, or groups of persons referred to as Osu is regarded as an outcast in the society. It is the stigma attached to the victims of this crude cultural practice that the book "It is Time to Fight the Battle of Osu System" is out to address.
No Christian should honor or respect Osu. Jesus Christ told us, love your neighbor as yourself. That yourself may be, your neighbor may be Osu. You have to love him. You don't discriminate if you love.
Bena Ozibe says the book is a compendium of his personal experiences.
Osu is outdated. You understand? In the olden days, you don't eat food from an Osu. And we all eat food from vendors today. Do you know whether they are Osu or they are not Osu? You don't befriend an Osu, and we are befriending them now. So I'm feeling that the Osu is outdated and it must be abolished.
Apart from serving as a reference material for research work, the book also provides insight for immediate and long-term solution to the societal ill. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
All right, let's take sports update.
"38 players are taking part in a two-day qualifying competition for the 2022 West Africa Scrabble Championship holding in Accra, Ghana from 15th to 18th of this month. At the end of the championship, 10 players will be selected by the Nigerian Scrabble Federation to represent the country.
I do not see it as being anything to be too difficult for us to win. However, we have been the country to beat. So definitely it means those who have not won before will be struggling and striving to beat us.
Meanwhile, finally, undefeated three-weight world champion Floyd Mayweather says he's ready to help develop the sport of boxing in Nigeria, as well as support other ventures that could engage the youth positively. The best ever, as he is fondly called, was speaking in Abuja during his promotion tour of his May 14 exhibition fight with Domo in Dubai.
I will continue to push those guys to be great. I will always stand behind the sport of boxing. I want nothing but the best for fighters. And like I said, we're always looking for the next Floyd Mayweather.
This is the first time Mayweather will be visiting Nigeria. With sport updates, Clement Olonotoba, NTA News.
And we're done. But if you play your part, just a reminder, the fight against rape and rapists will be won. I'm Ruth Aguele. Enjoy your evening.